Once again, I welcome you to Signature Television Unscripted, where we discussed major issues, major happenings in the week. Today we are going to talk about very serious issues, and I hope that our listeners are ready to get a feel of what we are going to discuss today. My name is Mike Ubani, and with me in the studio on my right is Dr. Ukeje. Dr. Stan Ukeje. Dr. Stan Ukeje, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes. On the extreme right, our leader, Sir Ngoke of former Radio Nigeria, and I know that many of us, knew when he was there, and he did a very marvelous work at the radio. Sir Ngoke, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mike, the one and only senator.
The only surviving senator of the Federal Republic.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Like I said, today, to begin with, we are going to look at the rejection by the Senate, Nigerian Senate, of a motion to immortalize late Professor Humphrey Wosu, who midwife the momentous, historical, and unforgettable June 12 presidential election, and all by Nigeria's military president, General Ibrahim Babangida. We are talking about the rejection by the Senate of the Federal Republic to immortalize Humphrey Wosu. That election, like I said, was adjudged by local observers, local and international observers, as the freest, the fairest, and the most credible election we had ever held in the annals of Nigeria's political history. But it was annulled, so unfortunately, and since after the annulment, the country witnessed so many controversies that resulted into killings, maiming, and all that. But today, as the country progressed and as the country was returned into civilian democracy, General Buhari, who was president from 1915 to 1923, thought it wise, to recognize June 12 as Democracy Day. In other words, that administration, that civilian administration, because Buhari was around when all these things were, happening. He was around, very much around. He was a former military head of state, and even before then, he was one of the combatants during the Civil War and all that. So he has a very good knowledge of Nigerians' history. And so he recognized June 12 as the Democracy Day, which means, the presumption that Abiola won that election was given a national recognition. And we have seen over the years that, just 2 months back or so, the man who annulled the election came up with a book, where he admitted that of a truth, Humphrey Wosu, Abiola won that election. And we do know that Abiola had long been immortalized. The National Stadium has been named after him, and so many other institutions have been named after him. Unfortunately, we lost Humphrey Wosu. May so rest in peace. I think he was interred yesterday. So there was this discussion, there was this debate in the National Assembly, the Senate, that the man who midwife what is regarded as the fairest, freest, and the most credible election, the Senate rejected the motion to immortalize his name, to name the national headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission after him. So, gentlemen, what do you make out of this rejection of that motion. Dr. Ukeje.
Mike, I think you have done the story, but I can review what you said. In Igbo language, if you reveal yourself, you will say that somebody has revealed you, but it's not true. If June 12th is a national day, a public holiday, if Chief Abiola is a hero and his name, the national stadium is named after him, how then can it mean that those associated with June 12th are not heroes? It is good to recall that the first person appointed as National Electoral Commission, NEC chairperson by Babangida was Professor Emawa, who was a teacher to Professor Humphrey Nwosu. Emawa and Babangida disagreed because Babangida continued to interfere with the process. He disqualified Shehu Yaradua and a few other people. Even in Enugu here, we can remember that he disqualified John Wodo and his competitor, Onaguluchi.
Onaguluchi hide.
I say I cannot take this kind of thing. Well, it is the character of the Igbo person to be focused on duty. Because if we are focused on loyalty, in my view, Humphrey Nwosu would not have taken that post when it was offered to him. But he saw a duty that can be done, and he went in. I won't detain you by saying that, by going through the whole hall, but I will say that when you hear option A4, there were other options, A1, A2, A3, A4, which the commission presented to Babangida and the political parties. They themselves, political parties and the government, agreed on option A4. What is option A4? Open ballot system. You don't print a ballot paper, put it in a box, count it, go to collecting center. No, you queue behind the person you are voting for, both for the nomination of candidates and selection or election of candidates to office. It works because the majority of Nigerians are illiterate, and we don't have the capacity to follow up, intricate voting systems. By Babangida's account, Humphrey Nwosu continued to insist that the election should be held. Humphrey Nwosu himself wrote a book in 2008 and was published by Macmillan, which is in Nigeria, I think either Ibadan or Lagos. So when I had Adams Oshomole say that he didn't come to his birthday to say that Abiola won the election, it's amazing. When you honor somebody for an event, it doesn't say that that person is a saint. I was a student when there was a controversy about a cross. Muslims in University of Ibadan said that the cross at the chapel, the Anglican chapel, should be removed. But that cross was there in the 40s, 50s, 60s. Abiola joined with the executive secretary of the National Universities Commission at that time, Dr. Aminu, to support the Muslims. That was, I don't think that was a heroic thing. But no, everybody has forgotten it. When the Constituent Assembly was sitting in the 1970s, he wanted Sharia in the Western states. Abiola and Fela and Nicola Akpakuti, they are townsmen. Abiola, Obasanjo, Fela, who was the interim?
Shoneko.
Shoneko. A lot of big people, they come from Abeokuta. But it was known that Abiola was an employee of ITT. But because he was a Nigerian, he was helping the company to get jobs from government. And he imposed himself on the company and became a majority shareholder. Those are not saintly behavior. But on the basis of the election, Abiola was better known than his challenger, the man from Kano. So he easily won. We were here when the election was held. It was not that it was a saintly election. People were maneuvered, money was shared. Even the chairman of SDP at the time, in a book, confessed that they paid money to people to vote for them. But that is how elections have been held in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So there is nothing unique about it. So if the thing is about June 12th election, which takes me back to what I said about Onye Kabi or Sina Madikaria, if the key people who are manipulating these things say that June 12th election is the best election, which means it's better than 2023. I don't know what else you are saying. You have already confessed. And thank God for the Deputy Senate President, Jibrin Barao. He said after Abaribe met him, telling him that he's going to remove a motion, he called Bamidele to discuss it. In other words, there are people who own the country. Let me end to allow this dean on my right to speak. Because after the 2011 election, Tinubu saw the results. It was Jonathan's government that really improved the election system in Nigeria. He looked at the voters register and said, with this voters register, the Northwest and the Southwest can rule Nigeria forever. In other words, it's a turn-by-turn kind of thing. What you had in the Cold War, the principle of spheres of influence is now the turn of Southwest. So nobody should come up except you are sitting over your head. But history has already been made. You cannot cancel June 12th. Anytime you say June 12th, they will say, oh, is that an election? And you must mention Humphrey Mosu. Bear in mind that what you now see as the headquarters of INEC in Abuja, it was Humphrey Mosu that
laid the foundation.
Not just laid the foundation, it was completed. Obasanjo just inaugurated it. It's just that our people are placed down. If you go to Abuja too and see the central bank headquarters, it was Oguma, who was governor of Central Bank. That awarded the contract and had it fully completed. So, how did Mark Anthony say it at the Caesar's funeral? Let the world hear what has happened.
So let's have your views as Gwoke. How do you view these development?
Yes, thank you very much. You see, Nigeria is a country of double standards. A country a country of double standards where the same things are not applied everywhere. I would like to relate the incident to a situation, a scenario. You come to my house and my wife prepares a dish for you, a sumptuous dish, and you eat and you enjoy the food. And then you go outside and say, oh, the food was nice. I enjoyed the stockfish. I enjoyed the stew. I enjoyed this. But you refuse to acknowledge that my wife is a good cook. How can you reconcile both? That's what happened about Nigeria. June 12th is unarguably the best election we had in this country. So, and the events that have passed, that have happened also, have gone to confirm that. So for them to come now and say, I refuse to recognize Humphrey Mosu, it's just a continuation of the, I don't like to use the word, but it is true, of the marginalization of a certain part of the country. Because there's no point the man that meanwhile the best election cannot be recognized. You cannot, whether they agree or not. Humphrey did a nice job. He midwifed that election. He cannot be denied that position. So it was done out of bad faith because he doesn't belong to the place that they think he should belong. So that's my opinion about it.
Yeah. You noticed that after the Senate rejected the motion to immortalize late Professor Humphrey Mosu, the caucus of the Southeast senators, held a press conference in Abuja and said they were going to meet President Tinubu over the matter. Dr. Keje, do you think Tinubu can help to ameliorate the situation?
Well, I come from a position that's different. If you go to Holy Scriptures, God said, I am going to put my words in your heart. I think history is in the heart of human beings. We don't need, there are many people who have national honor who don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So putting Nwosu in national honor does not change anything.
It does not.
In fact, it may even degrade him. Because when they list the people who have national honor, you will see a mixture of people with forged certificates, false claims, people who are coming from prison. He doesn't need to mix with those people. This gentleman had a first class. And you know that University of Nigeria, Nsukka, is in Igbo land. Before you get first class there, it's not anyhow university. I'm not saying that it's better than, because I went to Ibadan, but our people are stingy. Before you get it from them, you must more than merit it. It's not that you merit it, you must more than merit it.
Yes.
Then he went to University of California to do his master's and PhD. It's not easy. He was local government commissioner in old Anambra State.
Yes.
He's not a flight by night kind of person. For me, even if it's his hometown, Ajali, they should erect something for him. I would think that Anambra State's government, from where he comes, can even name their State Independent Electoral Commission
after him.
After him.
Yes. Okay.
There can be an arena. They could write a small book. Even that book he wrote, published by Macmillan, the government can buy it and share it to universities and secondary schools.
Which government? In the state? Federal state?
In Anambra State.
Okay.
Other Southeast state governments can do the same thing because the attack is not on Humphrey Nwosu. It is his identity. And the people doing these things are not alone. If you read portions of Babangida's book, something he said there that was really interesting. He said that after Justice Ikpeme gave judgment, he realized that Ikpeme had worked in Agbambo's chambers. What does that mean? Is Agbambo the father of Mrs. Ikpeme? These are identity politics.
Yeah.
It was Babangida that appointed Agbambo as Attorney General. It was the federal government that appointed Ikpeme as a judge. And he was the president. So why all this shifting of blame? The attack on Humphrey Nwosu is an attack on his identity. And his identity is Igbo. Whether your name is Nwosu or not. Therefore, I would think that even the state governments should be able to take that his book and read his account to shame the devil. Yeah. Because if Adam Soshomole, when he was chairman of APC,
okay,
he was attacking Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and Professor Soludo. He wanted them to be jailed because he wanted to belong to his masters. He was not in Nigeria in 1993. There was the Secretary General of the Oil Workers Union who was detained. Was he detained? The man is just acting according to who fits him.
Yes.
So the Eastern regional governments, or even any rich person from our part of the country should buy the book and share it, put it in the library to hear and read what Mosu said about what he did in 2008. We are now in 2025. That's almost 20 years after he wrote. Those are the simple things that can be done.
Yes, I think...
even the alumni of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, can honor him.
Okay.
Not because he's a saint, but because he devised a system which his traducers continue to say was better than the one that brought them to office. If 1992 is better than 2003, 2015, then the man should be scored good, and he's already scored.
Yes.
Yeah, you were going to say
yes, I was going to say, if you look at the issue of June 12, the June 12 did not materialize because of, from the above. The Southwest governors put in pressure through individual efforts at their state levels. Yeah. First of all, they declared June 12 public holidays at the various states.
Okay.
They were making noise
before the national government recognized June 12.
As a what Watchdog has just said, down here we should galvanize ourselves, starting from Ajali, local government, Anambra State, Southeast, you know, and make the noise. It was Zebudiah that used to say, if you don't say you are, nobody will say that you are. If you don't say I am, nobody will say that you are. We have to start here to recognize him as one of our own before we can now sell him outside. We won't expect that respect to come from outside. Let's do something within us. So I think the Southeast governors, even Anambra State government, should take the lead to immortalize this man.
Yes. Thank you very much. Our leaders in the Southeast, you have heard us, you've heard the suggestions that have been made, and it's up to the governors to, come up with a program on how to immortalize late Professor Humphrey, was especially, since everybody, almost all Nigerians, even those in abroad, have agreed that this gentleman, professor of political science, organized the freest, most credible election in the country. If the federal government refused, that's why I asked Dr. KJ whether he thinks that President Tinubu can redress the situation. But let's hope that President Tinubu will intervene, and because you don't even need the approval of the National Assembly or the Senate to accord national honor to anybody. The president can rename any of the national universities after Professor Wosu, or any good road, or any institution in Nigeria. So, like we are appealing to the Southeast governors to do something to immortalize. I think that's the best approach to it, whether the national government does anything or not. Professor Wosu was our son, and he'll continue to be our son even at death. Yes. So we must do something to recognize him. Gentlemen, thank you for your contributions. We move over again to the Natasha issue. Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan. There is a move by people who describe themselves as constituents, a move to recall her, from the Senate. We know the story of, how we got she got to where she is today. She was suspended for this. The Senate alleged that she disobeyed Senate rules, but on her own ground, she said she was being punished because she was sexually, she pronounced that she was sexually harassed. So, her constituents, we understand, have gathered a petition and signed petitions addressed to the National Assembly, to the INEC, to recall her. That happened this week. I think it was this week, Tuesday, that petition was submitted. And INEC raised some questions about the authenticity of the petition, there were some irregularities. Some of them have to do with the missing phone numbers and name and addresses in the petition. But the surprising thing is that within in less than 24 hours, those missing information
was applied.
Were supplied, and it's a lot of, so many Nigerians have asked the question: how come it that the petitioners were able to gather the phone numbers and addresses of the people who signed the petition in such a short period of time? So, Dr. KJ, can we have your views on these development?
Mike, we are on the same trend, actually. When a system works well, you don't need to tell people that it's working well. If you look at the Electoral Act and the one talking about recall, it says these are the steps you will take to recall somebody. If you miss any of the steps, the petition ends. If the representative did not put his phone number and address, how did INEC get to tell them that there were missing materials? So that first statement by INEC was a rejection. Now, because it was a public statement, it's possible for the representatives to hear it. It is now de novo. Start all over again.
Okay.
INEC cannot amend what it has rejected, because if you applied for a job when Ngoke was in Radio Nigeria and he was broadcasting about Rangers, Spartans, and working with David Ihessie, Kevin Ejiofor. If I wrote a letter to be employed in Radio Nigeria to Ralph Opara, and I didn't put my name and address, I cannot be called. But if Ngoke from Enugu Township Stadium at the time says the right winger for Rangers, Stan Ukeje, even he applied, but he didn't write his name and the address, and I then write again, that's a new application, because people have been shortlisted on the basis of the first one. I know Ralph Opara as an elder. He attended the University of Ibadan. I know him. If he now rigs it and now says Director of Administration, put 2 Ngoke may also come on the radio and say, yes, the right winger now has been returned to. The audience will say that, hey, Radio Nigeria is rigging. Are you sure you can even believe their broadcast? So, I think that is where we are. People forget that that Natasha was in the House of Reps. Many people are seeing her now because she's beautiful. She was in the House of Representatives, I think, for 2 terms.
For 2 terms.
There are some trending video of what she said about her Jokuta state plan. It was when she was in the House of Reps. Secondly, the issue that brought this katakata of expelling her from the Senate. Let us say that people from Bende are holding a meeting and all the communities come. No group can ask people from Alaye to go away. Mm-hmm. If they go away, the meeting has ended. You can't ask a senator to go away. Suspend him. Is he your employee? Parliamentary rule, even if you have parliamentary system, is if somebody is not properly dressed or use an abusive word, you ask the sergeant at arms to ask the person to go out and come back. If you walk the person out, it's already a humiliation. But the person is entitled to come back. So, when you rig in the open, sometimes when I see all these things, I wonder, why is it that government really condemn thugs? The actual thugs are in government. I mean, just watch it. I mentioned Gbemi Bamidele. He's the person controlling the Senate. But we are not in a parliamentary system. There was a day he told Akpabio that some people want to take away his seat, that he's holding it for him. In other words, that's what I'm telling you about this principle of inequality. He is, they are in charge now, so he's put Akpabio is sitting there on their behalf.
Yes,
any day you offend them,
yes,
they will dump him.
Yeah.
By his mercy.
Because when the lady was speaking, Bamidele and somebody raised a point of order. But if I was the chairman and somebody was speaking, the point of order will be against what he said, not his speaking. If you raise your hand, I will recognize you. When the person finishes speaking, yes, a point of order that this person shouldn't have been speaking from his or her seat. It is not for the Senate President to talk to the person anyhow. You say, Sergeant at Arms, did you tell Senator Natasha that the seat has been changed? Sir, I forgot. I was carrying the mace when, all right. Honorable Distinguished Senator,
Next
effective time. After today, please speak from seat number. And there must be reason why you change the seats. Is it that the microphone publishes the name of the speaker? You don't just throw people up and down. Because I even had Senator Erechi Kingibe saying she had been changed from one committee to the other. In the United States Senate and the House of Reps, you don't change people anyhow. Because that's why they say they have ranking members in committees. And Nigeria Senate has more committees than the US Senate. Why? Because they want to share posts. Chairman, deputy chairman, everybody's collecting money. Somebody can be chairman of more than one committee. Can you be effective?
No.
What the US has is subcommittees of maybe foreign relations committee, subcommittees of, but it's the same people who are there as subcommittee members. So, whether she is recalled in a Wayo manner is already in the open. Do recall that when she was elected, the former governor of Kogi State tried to obstruct her. Yeah, it was very late that
even before she was elected, you know, I understand that the road leading to the headquarters of INEC in her locality was bulldozed, so that there will be difficulty in transporting electoral materials. From,
in fact, you may discover that the former governor and his traditions in APC will use her to reconcile. That's why I'm telling you that the talks are in government. That former governor was not the candidate that Tinubu wanted to succeed Audu after Audu was killed. I would say killed because, I mean, there was no need that Audu would die after leading in the election.
Yes.
There's somebody who is from the state, but he was representing the Keja constituency. He's still in the House of Reps. That they wanted to run for the office. This fear of influence, the same thing that Buhari did. If you have a Fulani man in Enugu and you are nominating minister, you will take him. Anywhere you find somebody from the southwest that is loyal to him, he will pick him and forget the majority from the states. That's what they're doing. So the man may now say, surrender this girl, so that his case file in EFCC will be taken away, and then they will reconcile. That's why you can find, you know, you invite people to come and take palliative, and then in the midst you ask them to thumb print.
That's exactly the point I was going to make.
Yes, we nearly missed that aspect.
The deceit in the whole exercise. You called people to come and take palliatives, but you had a hidden agenda. You deceived them into sign that you have received, whereas they were signing for a recall.
Yeah, but can anybody do anything, against, how the so-called, petitioners deceived, the public? Can anybody go to court?
That's a hope. But like Zebediah used to say in one of his drama, that the airline that is already in the air, that the pilot should open the window so that he can wave to his people. It's not possible. The only opportunity for such things is the judiciary.
Yes.
But if the Chief Justice of Nigeria currently was the person that gave a ruling that Uzodimma won the election in Imo, where do you get the hope? That Deputy Commissioner of Police, so-called, nobody, after that day, I've not heard of his name. Has he been promoted to Commissioner? AIG? In which police force was he? But I'm sorry to say that the Eastern region that I knew as a child is better than Nigeria of today. Because in that Eastern region, there was what was called the Evidence Act. But you now have all kinds of acts. They call it Administration of Criminal Justice. It doesn't contain half of what the Evidence Act of Eastern region collect. Before you say you are a Deputy Commissioner of Police, the court will ask you, can we see your deployment letter to Imo State to serve as an observer in INEC? As Deputy Commissioner of Police, were you in all the police stations? No. Who supplied you with these figures you are presenting? This is evidence. You cannot come and say, I'm Deputy Commissioner of Police. I know that some of these votes were not counted. How did you get it? But I've told you about spheres of influence.
Yes. Like, you know,
you just answer.
Yes, you asked the question whether it was possible to challenge that decision.
Yes.
Well, in Nigeria of today, it's difficult because we are dealing with people in government that are ready to achieve anything, no matter what it takes. We are dealing with electorate that are illiterate. And we are dealing with where money is what matters in this country.
Yeah.
The populace in Kogi are poor. They wanted to receive money, to receive palliative. They have been cowed into doing things. So it is left for the activists, political activists, not those villagers. They cannot defend themselves. They cannot rise up. It's left for journalists, for political activists to rise up and move and establish a point that these people were cajoled into writing those names. They didn't write it because they wanted him had to be. To be
and that takes me to another issue about the docility of institutions, of associations that are supposed to speak against some of the wrongs, that we are witnessing in Nigeria. The nuns, for instance, the nuns used to be a very formidable, powerful association.
Even Labour.
Even Labour, but no one is willing to. None is not speaking. Labour is not speaking. They tell us that they are going on strike. At the end of the day, they tell you that they have reconciled. What is really happening? How come it that nuns that remember what's this name? This general Ali must go. Ali must go. Ali must go. After that, we have not had any, any demonstration, any protestation, that has any coloration with Ali. What is really wrong with the institutions that should come up and, oppose, or not even oppose, protest what some of the things that we think that is going on wrong in this society? Is it that everybody have been bought over? Is it that everybody is now poor?
Is it really buying over? I think it is that people have been cowed.
Okay.
Because money is a language that people understand now. They use money to achieve. Okay, see what's happened about the state of emergency in Rivers State. It is not very alleged that so much money passed to the hands of those legislators for them to approve that declaration. People now work for money in this country.
Okay.
People now no longer talk about even the duty that doctors spoke about. No longer duty. It is what comes into my pocket, what comes to the table. That is what influences people to work in this country. So even those who are courageous enough to come, the agents of government go after them. Nobody wants to die. only very few want to stick their neck. You have families to feed.
Yeah. But somebody must die for us to get an improved society. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you for your contributions. So far, we are going on a short break. When we return, we continue with the program.
With a population of about 36 million people, the Southeast is awash with stories. Every day on Southeast News, we tell the peculiar story of the Southeast and her people.
Our Southeast should be the Silicon Valley of Nigeria.
Their successes, achievements, and daily challenges. Do you have a Southeast story to share? Community achievements and challenges, completed and uncompleted projects, bad roads, water scarcity, erosion, flooding, insecurity, or even disagreements? Bring it on to Southeast News. On Southeast News, no story is too big or too small. Southeast News. Let's tell our story. Showing on Signature TV every weekday at 4 p.m. WAT, 1600 hours GMT.
To our exciting program, Signature Television Unscripted. Yes, few days ago, Dr. KJ, the governors of the PDP-controlled states dragged the federal government to the Supreme Court to challenge the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State. And unfortunately, so many people have lost confidence in our judiciary. Do you think anything good will come out of this expedition?
Well, like I told you, the entry point for grievance settlement is the judiciary. But if it has been compromised, I think there's something being circulated in the social media where somebody was sitting like this and saying, many business ideas have come into my head. The latest one is setting up a federal high court. I don't know whether you have seen it.
I've not seen it.
Quite instructive.
Well, it's very instructive indeed.
Solomon in the Bible was praised for asking God for wisdom to judge. What the people in office now are asking for is the power to oppress. The Constitution is written. I will go back to this dangerous principle of spheres of influence. In 1962, there was state of emergency. It was the Southwest that was involved. Both the Attorney General of the Federation and the Attorney General of Western Region were from the Southwest. The contestants were from the Southwest. In the Second Republic, there were, on this current republic, there was state of emergency. Obasanjo.
Yes.
He's from the Southwest. I mean, nobody's a saint to. He removed the governor of Plateau to please those people who put him in office because he was not a member of PDP. He was just brought in to displace Ekweme. But he's a man of good conscience. But he gave Ekweme an impossible task to become the Senate president. How can somebody, after being vice president, come down to be Senate? And he wasn't even elected to the Senate. And when the Christian Association of Nigeria from Plateau challenged him he said, "Can my foot." Today, we now have another state of emergency. Tinubu. That is why I'm telling you that if you disclose yourself, don't say that somebody has informed about you. That was in the Bible, Hezekiah. He prayed to God for extended life. But when the king of Babylon sent people to condole, to comfort him, he showed them the armory and where he stored gold. Isaiah came back and said, "Those people who came, what did you show them?" "So I showed them everything." He said, "They will come back to collect those things." But foolishly, Hezekiah said, "If it doesn't happen in my lifetime, it can happen." Instead of begging God that he is sorry.
Yes.
But this was somebody who cried for extended life. So when somebody is telling you, Ompringosu is bad, Agbambo is bad, tell them that Prince, the current Attorney General, they have joined the bad group of people. All the sympathy that people have for the Southwest about the state of emergency declared by Abubakar is disappeared. Because those things you condemned in one person, you are repeating. Something should be wrong, not people.
Okay.
Something should be wrong. That is why there is law. You cannot make law against one person. You cannot say Nwoke is too tall to be in this committee, that he is taller than Mike and Stan. That is not law. You can say that saying something against somebody who is not present is bad. That's an activity.
Yeah.
So everything has been annulled. It's not just Abiola's election that was annulled. All the claims of unrighteousness in the First Republic against Zik, NCNC, Abubakar, Ribadu, it has been annulled by what Tinubu and his urban gang have been doing. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
How can you? The law says these are the conditions for
Declaration of
one of the fighters, you are holding him in the wing. Every day he goes to Port Harcourt to go and stimulate trouble. And you now say you are protecting. If you want to stop a fight, stop the man that is close to you.
Yeah.
If your son is fighting, when you come, you say, "John, why are you fighting that fellow?" Even if he was right, people will say you are fair. You have called your son to stop fighting.
Yeah.
He will tell you, "I was injured."
Sorry to cut you short because of our time.
Yes,
Do you see the possibility of the PDP governors getting justice from the Supreme Court against the backdrop of the fact that our courts have been accused of, siding the government? And we're talking about Rivers State, where Wike is also accused of having bought over the judiciary. Any hope of getting justice?
I would not like to give you a yes or no answer, but I would rather say that it might be difficult to get justice in this particular case. It is still possible because there's nothing God cannot do.
Yeah.
You see, what the PDP governors have done is what the mother hen did or does when the kite carries its kitten. It shouts for the world to hear his voice, not because he wants the kite to release. They will go ahead and do the noise, go to court, litigate everything. But the court, being controlled by the government, can still do what they want to do. Yeah. So I don't see, with this present situation we have in this country, with the minister in Abuja being in charge of almost all the judges in this country, I don't see the PDP getting any justice. Yeah. But let them try. Okay. It is possible that maybe a miracle will happen.
Okay. Well, hoping for that miracle to happen, really. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Our time is up, and I do thank you today is a cleanup exercise. I don't know whether you observed the cleanup in your area, but notwithstanding the cleanup, you were able to make it on time. Really, I thank you for coming, and I hope that we'll make this conversation a very stable and interesting, exciting one. Thank you very much.
It's my joy sitting between the two
Thank
of
you,
them.
Mike.
Thank you.
The
Thank you
gurus
for-
of journalism. Yeah?
Thank you, Doc.
When we are journalists, we are not muscle. That was when we were.
So our listeners, thank you for listening to us, and we do hope that next time you also tune to Signature Television for the continuation of these exciting programs.